Hi, today I want to talk about just like one of the best scenes ever from the best anime ever. If you haven't seen Paranoia Agent before, I'm not going to spoil it here because, like, you just should. It's so freaking good. But, like, let me just set up what's happening. So, you see, Tokyo is being terrorized by Little Slugger. He's this kid with a baseball bat that attacks people, and he may or may not be supernatural. There's also a creepy stuffed animal who talks. It's scary. It's freaky. It's freaking you out. That's all episode 1 in the most briefest sense. Episode 2, though, the one that I want to talk about, we meet a young student, a 6th grader named Yuichi Ichitaira. He's the most popular kid in school. He's amazing at sports, specifically baseball. He gets incredible grades, just everything you can imagine. However, something starts to happen to his seemingly perfect life. See, the police have just released a sketch of what Little Slugger looks like, and it's more than a little similar to Ichi. Suddenly, the whole school turns on him. You know, at first Ichi shrugs this off. He's thinking, it'll go away. He's quite mean to the other kids too. He calls them like pigs and just idiots and all that stuff.
Everybody is manipulated by the media. What a bunch of idiots.
Turns out Ichi is a bit of a dick, bit of a not great person. He suspects his classmate Shogo Ushiyama is making up rumors about him. Ushiyama's this kid who just came in to the school year a little late. He's not quite as popular as Ichi. He also seems just like genuinely kind and earnest, like a really, really nice guy. Ichi doesn't believe Ushiyama is like actually a good person. We call this projecting, by the way. Also, he just says like the worst things to him in his mind, like just not. Ichi's not great. We don't like Ichi.
He's just a slow, stupid, and obese country bumpkin who's as big as a cow!
Anyway, what happens is Ichi asks Ushiyama to meet him behind the school and just basically threatens him.
Since you have no chance of winning the election by playing fair, you figured you'd try and destroy my reputation. Isn't that right? Huh?
After that threatening happens, though, suddenly we go into a POV shot with this mysterious third party who's taken pictures of the entire incident. This leads to the scene I'm so excited to talk about. I'm gonna play the whole segment for you. It's not very long, but I think it's important to just take it all in. This is, I think, one of the greatest moments in the history of the medium. I want to explain 2 ideas that I think really make this scene work. Suspense and dramatic irony. You might have heard this famous Alfred Hitchcock quote about the difference between a surprise and suspense. Basically, he says if you have a bomb blow up, 2 actors having a conversation, you just get this like quick jump scare. But if you show someone planting the bomb before the conversation happens, suddenly it becomes a lot more interesting. It becomes a lot more tense because we, the audience, know that that bomb could go off at any minute. So, at the start of this scene, we've been sitting in suspense for a little bit. We know that pictures were taken, we know that they look horrible for Ichi, but we don't know what's going to happen with them. Is Ichi going to get blackmailed? Maybe this is the real bad guy, the one taking the photos. Maybe they're actually the good guy. Remember, Ichi kind of sucks. We, the audience, we know so much more than the characters at this point. For instance, we know that this kid isn't Little Slugger because we saw what Little Slugger looks like in the first episode. Ichi doesn't look like that. And we also know that Ichi has just had this picture taken of him in a very compromising situation. This is what we call dramatic irony, just this feeling of we want to scream at the television because we want to save the characters, but we know we can't. It's like when a victim gets slain by a monster in like a horror movie, slasher movie thing. So let's go back to this scene. This scene that I really love this scene so much. We get a semi-wide shot of Ichi sitting at his desk. All of a sudden, he gets a text message. He opens the phone and we see that he had received an image file. We cut to his reaction to that image. We don't see the image yet. We cut to the reaction. We're closer to him, but we're not so close that we can't see his classmates. We don't know what the image is yet, like I said, but at the same time, we don't need to. We see that reaction in Ichi's face. We don't need to really know what it is. We're pretty confident it has to be those photos that were taken of him. Not only do we see his reaction, but this is my favorite part of it, we get this second of seeing other students around him get text messages too. And we know exactly what's happening. Not only has he received these photos, but everyone around him has received those same photos. And I just love that there's like the second or two where we don't even see the picture yet, but it's all right there for us. Just in our brains, like it couldn't be anything else. There's this idea that when we don't know something, we often imagine like the most extreme version of it. Like our brains don't like living in ambiguity, so we work as hard as we can to end it. This scene though, it doesn't give us that relief right away. The show squeezes as much suspense out of this moment as it can before finally just telling us what we've known from the start. When I watch this scene again, I'm honestly like surprised by how short it is. I remembered it feeling like at least a full minute, but I think that's just how powerful suspense can be. It really does make seconds feel like hours. And I think that's why I love this moment. It shows artistic intent and a respect for the audience's intelligence that we just don't see a lot in media. The creator of Paranoia Agent, Satoshi Kon, who also storyboarded this episode, was one of the greatest directors of all time. Like, not even just for anime, just like of all film. Not just anime, not just of everything. Satoshi Kon was just one of the best directors, period. And when I see scenes like this, it reminds me why that is. This is why I love media. This is why I went and studied film in college. This is why I want to make my own stuff. I like seeing things where it's not what we expect, because it reminds me that we are never limited to the obvious, to the tried and true. We have so many options when it comes to presenting our stories that it's almost sad not to use our full own voice. Satoshi Kon was one of a kind, but I think a scene like this doesn't make me want to copy Satoshi Kon. It makes me like want to find my own voice, to create my version of an amazing scene like this. And by sharing it, I hope it inspires you too.